Hey guys, so I know it's been a while since I last posted, but I figured that today might be the day. It's my first festival in almost a year. I guess the last time I played with my band was at the Makanda Jazz Festival, and that was in August of 2020, I believe. Today I'm playing at the famous Joy of Jazz Festival in Johannesburg, but it's been sort of reimagined as a drive-through concert. Excuse me, it's early. Given that I haven't posted in a while and that it's my first gig in a while, I thought I would combine this with a new video style that we're trialing here on my channel, a vlog. So right now I'm drinking my first cup of coffee of the day, there it is, and I'm watching some YouTube in the morning, and then I'm gonna make myself some breakfast and do a bit of technique warm-up and then head over to the venue. So I thought I'd take you along for the ride with me. I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, like the video, subscribe to my channel as always. Yeah, really looking forward to this concert. Hey guys, so I finally showered up and I feel like a human being again. I'm about to pack up and head out to the gig, but before doing so I thought it might be nice just to talk a bit about my process on days of gigs and exactly how I prepare for gigs. So obviously beforehand I try and make sure that I have as much of the material ready as possible. I've had an insane week. It's just been so busy, actually past 3 weeks, and so time management has been really tricky, but in the end I managed. And of course if you guys would like to see a video on that, please let me know and I can maybe talk through my ways of thinking around how to manage one's time. But basically I like to have all of my material ready quite well in advance before the gig. So all of my musical material ready quite well in advance before the gig, so that on the gig day I'm really just free to focus on being very creative and emotionally involved in the performance on stage. And of course the morning of the gig I have a very specific routine and ritual that I like to follow that really gets me in the right mindset psychologically on the one hand, and in terms of the physicality of the instrument, the motorics of the instrument, I like to also prepare for that on the other hand. So typically what I'll do is I'll try and get up relatively early, around 6 a.m. and then I'll have my coffee, have a little stretch, which is my version of meditation, I suppose. And then I'll have breakfast, and then I'll do a technique routine. And that technique routine, the purpose of that routine is to really make sure that my fingers are ready for the gig, but that creatively I'm not exhausted in any way, and physically I'm not exhausted in any way. So I really scale down rather drastically my ordinary technique routine and take about somewhere between an hour and 2 hours to really warm up. And that involves practicing the basic movements on the instrument, so alternate picking, sweep picking, hammer-ons and pull-offs, and hybrid picking. And then typically playing a song at a medium tempo within a range so that I get used to what it feels like to pick within various tempo ranges. So within a range from 110 to 180 beats per minute. And thereafter I'll practice an up-tempo song, whichever up-tempo song I'm working on. Once again within a range from around 200 beats per minute to 280 beats per minute. So for now I'm gonna pack up, then I'm gonna head to the hotel, which is where we have to meet, and we're being shuttled from the hotel to the gig. So obviously I'll bring you guys along for the journey. So I'm busy setting my rack up right now. I just thought I'd show you guys what I have here. This is my typical minimal setup for my gig. I have a whole lot of other pedals here that I sometimes use, a loop station. Depending on the venue and the sound in the venue, I also sometimes use a compressor. For some of my duo concerts I use Octava with a splitter as well. And then of course just any EQ pedal as well, depending on what amp is going to be available at the venue. I'm still not really sure what type of amp is going to be available there, but I guess it'll be good enough. And to be honest, I don't really have space on my pedal board left to add more to it. So I have a volume pedal, which I use for pad sounds as well as to regulate my volume between when I'm comping and soloing. And then a tuner, obviously. And then a distortion pedal, which I use every now and then for solo sections to add energy, or also for some arrangements of some of my original compositions. The distortion just adds an extra bite to certain chord sections. Then this little toy of mine, Whammy, an Octava pedal that also has a kind of pitch shifter built into it that I can use to generate all sorts of wonky effects. A tremolo, again, I use for pad sort of effects as well as certain sections of arrangements in my songs. And then a reverb and delay, which I keep on pretty much throughout my sound, except when I need a really short sound and a short decay, then I'll turn it off. So yeah, I'm just setting up all the volume levels for all of this to make sure that it's all good. Alright guys, heading out. Trying to reverse the car whilst filming isn't ideal. See you guys on the other side.
Hello, Mr. Sandanga. Jeff, 2021. AKA Levin.
Hey guys, so finally made it to the venue, and man, the view is absolutely insane from this rooftop. Let me give you a quick look. Basically a panorama view of the whole of Sandton. Really cool. So yeah, we'll catch up with you when the sound check begins.
I've got it like pa, 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 pa.
Hey guys, so it's actually been a few days since the concert and since I recorded that last vlog. I felt like it was important at the end of this video to give some of my closing thoughts or reflections on this first festival gig in over a year. So obviously because I hadn't really played music for such a long time, things were quite rusty. Personally for me, but also from an ensemble perspective, things were rather rusty because it's been a very, very long time since I've played this music with anyone else. And of course, in moments like that, it's always very, very easy to become negative if things don't go as you imagined they would go, or as you hoped they would go. And this is something that I get asked about quite often by my students, and something that I've actually had to deal with throughout my performance career, trying to deal with disappointment and trying to deal with the sort of negative voices in your head that take over when things don't go so well. So as you just heard in the live performance that you just listened to, there were some issues, of course not major issues, but some issues. And if you're a perfectionist as I am, it's very, very easy for you to allow these issues to really affect you deeply and to really conflate these issues with the sense that you don't deserve to be doing what you're doing as a musician. And for the longest time I really used to struggle with this, conflating the lack of success with some sense that I don't really deserve to be a musician. I'm not talented enough to be a musician. I don't work hard enough to be a musician. And ultimately, later on in life, I've realized a couple of things. So the first thing that I've realized is that these moments of performing, of connecting with your band members, are not constant things. They only come once in a while. They're not a given. And when I was younger, I used to really take these things for granted, because when I first returned to South Africa, I had a very, very successful and comprehensive gigging life. And I just assumed that this is how it was and that it would continue like this forever. And so there wasn't really a need to take stock and reflect on how important those particular moments in my career were. So the first thing is to really, really not take things for granted. Having gone through what we've just gone through as a country, but also in the world more broadly, it really made me realize that these performances do only come once every so often. And when they do come, they end. And when they end, that's it. They're done, and you're not going to get them back. All that you have left is the memories. Therefore, it's very, very important to be incredibly present in the moment and incredibly grateful for having these opportunities, because not many musicians get these opportunities to play these types of concerts. And so throughout this concert and throughout the experience of rehearsing for this concert and hanging with these guys who are already friends of mine, I was very cognizant of the fact that this is not a given. I'm really, really fortunate and honored to be able to be a performing artist and a musician, and to have these opportunities to share these really, really important and special moments with other human beings. And ultimately to get to play my music with such brilliant musicians, which again is not something that's not a given. It's not a given that you'll always get to play your own music, and it's not a given that you'll always get to play your music with people who are able to really execute it and make it come to life. So in essence, in the act of performing, in the act of composing your own music, you're really extracting some essential part of yourself and using music to abstract upon that. And when you perform that with other people, that to me is the ultimate act of human and emotional empathy, and it's really, really a privilege to be able to do that with other people. So yeah, those two lessons have been very, very important and instrumental to me. One, to never take things for granted, and two, to really be present and humble in the moment, and really grateful and humble in the face of the fact that you're able to articulate some essential aspect of yourself to your peers, but then also by extension to the outside world. And then maybe just as an appendix to all of that, it's also really, really important to realize that when you're playing live music, it's not recorded music. And of course we would like to present the best version of ourselves to a live audience. But this is not always possible, because it's not always possible to control all of the variables at play in doing this. If you're in a recorded environment, it's very, very easy to do another take of a solo, or to really stop midway through a song and start again, etc., etc. So you have a lot more control over, first of all, the physical act of music making, but also over your psycho-emotional state of being. And when you're playing a live music concert, this is just not the case. It's a completely different set of variables that are at play. And so as such, it's always important to remember that it will never be perfect. And in many ways, that's what makes it beautiful. It's this very fragile, emergent, temporary thing that is very, very contingent on a whole lot of variables outside of your control in the act of immediate music making. And there's something really, really beautiful about that, and it really translates when you listen to something that sounds live versus when you listen to something that sounds recorded. And of course, it is not always as bad as you think it is. So if you're really, really negative, just remember that very often we have a tendency to inflate how bad or how good an experience really is. And for the most part, experiences actually exist somewhere in the middle. And it's always important to keep this sort of a perspective. So yeah, guys, that's my general thoughts on the gig. It was great to do it. I hope that you found those reflections helpful and insightful in some way. I hope you enjoyed the little clip that I presented of the concert, my song Rebirth, from my album Life and Death on the Other Side of the Dream. If you enjoyed this sort of video, this sort of content, please like this video, please subscribe to my channel, and of course please comment down below if you'd like to see more videos of this type or videos of any other type in the future. Thanks so much, guys, and I guess I'll see you next time.